Welcome to the App Advisory Show, your fortnightly dose of all things cloud accounting, apps, and app advisory.
Hey guys, so session 5 of the ultimate guide to app advisory. So again, short session. I'm going to talk a little bit more around app advisory and just go through the next area of the document. Okay, so I spoke about this in one of the earlier episodes, but essentially app advisory is a service that we should be thinking about in its own right. But the term, again, is internally only. It should only be for internally to the accounting and bookkeeping profession. We shouldn't go to clients and go, we've got an app advisory service. Devalues it. People think apps are on your iPhone or on your Android, whatever it might be, okay? So there's a portrayal issue there. Now, what I talk about here, I'm going to just link into these areas: adoption, optimization, and maintenance. So your adoption, when you're doing app advisory services, I put them in 3 areas: adoption, optimization, and maintenance. Your adoption is taking clients to cloud. So they're not on cloud and they're going on to cloud. So with your adoption, you can have some adoption services. Your optimization services are for clients already on cloud, or prospects as well, actually, okay? I've got a bunch of clients, or I've got a prospect who's come to me on cloud, bunch of clients on cloud. I've got them on in the last 2, 3, 4 years. What more do I do for them, and how do I approach that, okay? And the final one is maintenance. And this is about supporting the clients once you've adopted them / optimize them, okay? So those are the 3. So let's go through those a little bit more. So we've got adoption services. We went through these services earlier, but finance function reviews, because we're taking someone from non-cloud to cloud. We need to understand what their current setup does well, but is missing, and what our new cloud setup needs to do going forward, okay? So a finance function review in that space. Your cloud migration services, okay? You're going to be taking clients across into cloud. You need a cloud migration service, okay? Which is going to be, it could be guided, where you're literally going to be given advice and guidance, not doing anything, or it could be fully managed, where you are actually going to pick up all of their data and move it across and do the setup and do the training. So literally when they log in, it's all ready for them, okay? So 2 different ways to be thinking about that. Cloud migration training. So every time we migrate a client to cloud, we should be offering some training. And the one thing I do find with firms is sometimes we offer that training once. We train them when they're first on it, and we don't go back and ask if they want any more training, whether that's a month later, 3 months later, a year later, 10 years later. We're not going back to do that. So the cloud training, offer it, but make sure that you are following up. Do you need any more training? And other triggers, such as we've got a new staff member. Okay, do they need training? Let's offer the training, okay? So just to be thinking about that. But I don't think, personally, I think training is a mandatory part of an implementation or a cloud migration. So if somebody says, oh, I don't really want the training, just do the migration, well, you're only going to train them by virtue of them having troubles when they're trying to work it. So be thinking about that. So they are your adoption services, right? Optimization services, digital health checks. Loads of people on cloud now. Some on well, more on not so well, in my experience. And essentially what I'm seeing here with the digital health checks is the health check seems to be a bias on the accounting data, okay? Now that's all well and good, but the data actually, from a business owner perspective, I'm just expecting accountants either sort that or tell me I've got to do something different to get that right. I wouldn't say it's massively valued. It is when you need informed decisions, you need good data, but I don't think that's valued. I think with a digital health check, we need to be thinking about what's the client experience? How are they utilising this software? What more do they need it to do? Is the software capable, or do we need to think about other solutions to bring in? And you've got to think about when a client goes onto cloud, or an SME goes onto cloud, their business, if it's 4 or 5 years ago, may look one way. In the last 3 or 4 years, that business could have changed and the software's changed, and we may need to realign them. So you need to be thinking about going back to some of these clients, because there'll be features and functions and maybe new solutions which weren't there available at the time. And with how their business has changed, which could be really adding benefit. Okay, so that's digital health check. App research recommendation. Somebody needs some help. You need to look up some apps, charge them for the time, because you've got to think about there's something called serious and curious. If I'm curious about it, I won't pay for it. So if I say to my accountant, hey, I need a new booking system, and it's sort of just something that's in my mind, and my accountant goes and looks, oh yeah, I found, here's 3 or 4, have a look and see what you think, and then we can go from there. And they've done that for free, right? And it goes in and it's gone bottom of the queue for me again, bottom of the pile, and it's filed away to come out another day. If my accountant had said to me, hey Matt, okay, you want a booking system, it's X amount of £100 for me to search that, and I need to know a little bit more about exactly what you're from. If I am not serious about that, I'm going to go, do you know what, just leave it, I'll come back to it at a later time. If I'm serious, I'm going to go, yeah, I'll pay that, and look forward to getting the feedback. So again, you don't waste time because you are letting the client or prospect qualify themselves in or out, okay? App implementations and integrations. We definitely have to think about certainly how integrations and implementations work, because this is much more of an integrated world that we're moving into. So a client could come to you and say, hey, I've found a new system I want to plug into cloud accounting system or a system in the ecosystem, and you're going to have to be, you're going to be asked to be involved. So you need to tell them how you're going to be involved commercially and in terms of outcome. And also, I think when you're integrating things, one of the key things accountants can do is test the data. Is this data going to come across, which means that the reports that we currently get or want are going to make sense? And also from a compliance perspective, is that just still going to sail through? We're going to have lots of fixing when it comes in. So think about integration testing as a real point. App training pretty much says on what it says on the tin. I've got an app, it needs some training. You should be doing the training if you want to and if you're happy to, and it's an area that you want to work with. Also, as I said, the apps are moving on like the vendors, so don't forget about refresher training, really important. Maintenance services, software support. You've architected a set of solutions, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 10 apps that build together a solution for that client. When there's problems, there's going to come to you. When there's queries, they're going to come to you. And I don't see hardly any firms ever put software support in. You need to, because you're the architect of that solution. Yes, they can go to all the different vendors, but ultimately you're the person or the people who've architected that. So you do need to be thinking about how you're going to support that, okay? The other role we've seen is with some larger clients, SMEs, some larger SMEs who've maybe got a finance team in-house. They're coming to their accountant going, well, actually, you've just introduced me to this technology. Can you actually be a digital advice and guidance on this? Because we're stuck in this system, in this way of working. We don't normally get out of our working environment to understand what else is out there. Could you come in quarterly and give us some updates, some tips on what's going on and what else we could achieve? So think about that. It's not just about software support. There's actually advice and guidance. We're seeing more of that start to arrive now. And finally, deciding the priority of the services you need to implement. If you're not got a massive cloud base and it's about moving people to cloud, you need to think about your adoption services. If you've got a larger client base that's on cloud, it's about how you start to optimize them. So that'll be digital health checks. Okay, so I think in general, you need to understand whether you're in adoption or whether you're in optimization. And just think about the adoption needs to be strong to cap level 1, because you don't want to go back and have to upgrade all those, okay? So in terms of prioritizing, think about, am I choosing adoption, optimization, or maintenance? And I think it's going to be adoption or optimization for you to take forward. We'll leave it at that for this session, and we'll pick up on the next parts in the next session. Cheers now.